My name is Pal Singh, and I'm a Christian myself, but I'm going to be talking about my father's death, who was a Sikh, but also mixed into that is something about Hinduism as well. So it's a fusion of three different faiths really coming together at his death. Well, one of the things that happened was that my father sadly died on Christmas Day, and but the positive was that most of the family, in fact all the family, were there at the time, and so he got to see them, and although it was a sad occasion, out of that what then happens is that normally the body is washed and kept obviously in a mortuary, but what then happens between that period of the death and also in terms of the actual funeral service is that the family and friends come to the home and pay their respects. And it's normally in separate rooms for men and women. But it's actually going through the person's life, their journey, all that they meant, the stories around it, the interaction that that person or that family had with them. And so they relive that together, and then towards the end of that what they tend to do is to then go off to arrange the funeral and everything else, and it's normally for a Sikh and for a Hindu it's a crematorium. Within the Asian communities as such in the faiths is this sense of sort of being together, so there's the family, the extended family, friends. So at the crematorium, so you could have up to 300 people who will turn up for this funeral. It's not just the family that they sympathise and want to support, it's one another as well doing that, so they sense that it's something much bigger than that. Back to India, and whether that's to the Punjab, in the case of the Sikhs, to the river there, or whether a Hindu, but sometimes it's a mixture of both, but they tend to go to the river Ganges and scatter the ashes there. Now, in my father's case, what actually happened was that when the funeral took place, I was given an opportunity to participate as a Christian and to read one of the well-known sort of scriptures, which is Psalm 23, and I read that in English, and then my brother-in-law read it in Punjabi. There was a Sikh priest who was leading the service, but so we had this fusion of Sikhism, Christianity, but a bit of Hinduism as well, because part of my sort of father's side were Hindus, the other side were Sikhs. So, and there were others who were Christians there as well from my family. So it's a fusion of all those three coming together, really. That normally happens, as I say, at the crematorium. Most of the services that take place. And the individual, the deceased, is cremated there, and the ashes are taken. But they also, in the Sikh tradition, go back to they go then to the Gurdwara, the Sikh temple, and there's a service there. And at the end of that service, everybody's fed. It's normally a vegetarian meal, and the family, the immediate family, are very much involved in serving that. I think in this context, whereas in the West, we tend to see funerals as that individual and then the family and supporting that. In the Asian context, particularly in the Sikh and Hindu context, and I'm sure in the Muslim as well, it's seen more as a community coming together and grieving together. Those who are from the Sikh and Hindu community actually believe in reincarnation, so that depending on the kind of life you live, your deeds, there's this cause and effect. So, you reap, in a sense, in life, in the next life, what you sowed here. That belief differs from one sort of part of, because there's diversity within Sikhism and within Hinduism, so they all believe different things. And so there are rituals that the family do have to do after the death of that person, after the funeral. And some of those are performed within, going to the mandir, to the Hindu temple, or to the Sikh temple, or others over in India, where there are sacred holy places that you visit. One of the things that we had to do was feed the poor, and so that was part of it. There were certain other rituals and things that you had to go through, but basically in this particular part, this sort of holy prayer, there were literally hundreds and hundreds of people just lying in the streets who were homeless, didn't have homes, they and they relied on the charity of others and help. And they just queued up, they just sat on with their plate, and you sponsored that sort of lunch, so you just went along with your family, or you got others to do it for you, and you paid for that on behalf of the person, the deceased person that's passed away.